Should I begin? Hello, from Carbon Studio from Iran. I'm Pardis, and I'm here to present you our project, Digging for Light, Digging for Life. First off, I'm going to start with the fact that this entire exhibition is about how future starts with a journey to the past. That's exactly what our project is about. Can you imagine a house designed in a contemporary manner that follows the same principles as the ancient architecture? Of course, these principles must be changed and developed somehow to fit our lives, but it turns out that with only a minor change, we can make them used for our today's life in a way that we are trying so hard to achieve, like net zero facilities and things like that. First off, let's begin with our chosen site. The UNESCO-registered World Heritage ancient city of Yazd, described as the novel city of Yazd by Marco Polo, and its nearby villages are great examples of the Iranian traditional architecture. This city is located amidst the most desolated parts of the Iranian plateau, which stands primarily in a barren, sand-ridden plain with a desertic climate, but solely based on its architecture, it counts as one of the cultural cradles of Iranian culture. As we dig deeper into its architecture, we found that it works with a plugin system. This plugin system works as a winning element of this ancient architecture that provides things like resiliency in this harsh natural site. Now the question is, how can we use these principles as a reference for today's architecture and urban planning? Amidst our research, we found that Qanat plays a game-changing role in this resilient system, where each element is connected or plugged into each other through a Qanat infrastructure as a whole. To quickly explain what Qanat is, it's actually a series of underground water canals that still function in some arid regions. And to this day, they supply water for human settlements nearby. It taps underground water from base of the mountains through a series of gently sloping tunnels. They often several kilometers long. They can provide water for use and for agriculture. Going back to our project and narrowing down to the exact location of our site, as you can see, this is the desertic areas of Iran, and this is the traditional city of Yazd, and this is the exact location where we chose. It's called Ernan. It's a village that has a very potential, different types of potentials, both natural and human-made. This mouth is one of the natural potentials. This is Mount Ernan, and there are tracks of human civilizations here from 12,000 years ago. And also, we have a seasonal lake here that used to provide water for the villages nearby, and also lots of old qanats. As you can see, those dots are qanats. And the mesmerizing castle of Ernan worked as a source of inspiration for our entire project. Qanat's landscapes, ancient building techniques, and historic references gradually formed our ideas. We did not want to only make a house in the middle of an abandoned place. We wanted to use architecture to solve the existing challenges. So we established a triad programs. And beside a house, we designed a school and a massive water reservoir to give something to the community nearby. As you see, the home takes its orientation from the nearby Castle Ernan, and the entire building is sunken underground to reduce and minimize the thermal exchange between inside and outside. With this solution, we also tried to push the brief further using another ancient Iranian architectural element known as badgir, or the wind catcher. We achieved an air circulation system that is entirely green and efficient by this approach. This is how we are going to lit the interiors of this sunken underground project, both in daylight and in the nighttime. The interiors are illuminated with both direct and indirect light. Natural light enters from the domes and the glass pool, as you can see here, functioning as a skylight. They differ in form, size, and position to create a different atmosphere at any time of the day. The desert breeze blows on a surface of the thin layer of pool water on the outside and creates wavy patterns illuminating the house central yard beneath. The central yard also houses fireflies, creating a habitat beneficial to humans as they address the biodiversity in Iranian desert. These are local fireflies that we are also trying to add something to its biodiversity as well, besides its human community. Also, I mentioned we were trying to add something to the nearby villages that are in dire need of educational and medical services and facilities. So we were inspired by the Yazd alleys and the signature arcs and used them to make an entrance of our school's pathway. We added as I mentioned, a triad program, and one of them is a school for children living in nearby villages. Also, now we get to the most exciting part of the presentation, which is the water reservoir. As you know, in this desertic climate, water would be a specific need and a specific concern. So we added water reservoir, but with this water reservoir, we again looked back into history and to our ancient architecture, and we were inspired by ancient water storages known as Ab Anbar in Iran. They look like these domes, and they provide water. The water from qanas get to stored in these domes, and they will keep cool in these shapes of domes that won't let warm weather reach them. Also, we added another monumental element, which is this triangle shape. And it works as a badgir or wind catcher, but it also is behaving like a monumental element. The warm breeze will flow through it, and after it passes through the interiors, moving away above the ponds and water ponds, it will its temperature will reduce drastically, and it will continue to blow in the interiors over these narrow corridors, and will cool down the entire space, and will act as a ventilation that is entirely net zero. This is the section of our project. As you can see, this is how it comes together. Each part, the entrance, the home, the school, and the water reservoir with the wind catcher. Now, I'm gonna finish our presentation with this animation. This is the entrance of the building entirely. This is the school pathway.
Thank you. Is there a client?
Yeah, the client was a couple. They are teachers. They are volunteer teachers in the nearby small schools, local schools in the nearby village. They wanted a house, but they were actually in concern of the bad condition of the schools there. So they wanted. Program that will actually help them to, find a place to stay, and as well a better place for students to get in there.
You did mention that Ernan was abandoned, or does it have people living there or not?
The village of Ernan, the nearby village, is semi-abandoned due to the harsh weather it has. It's kind of being semi-abandoned right now. But the main problem is the water, of course. So we are trying to make the use of these qanats again to make sure we can provide water for these settlements.
And can you talk a little bit about how you think about building these? What's the construction materials by digging and going up, please?
Let me just bring a picture. As I mentioned, I'm not sure if I was able to exactly show you how the qanats work. These are actually tunnels. The space beneath them are kind of empty. We just managed the empty space and came up with a place for people to be able to stay in it. But the main used material will be rammed earth from local earth.
Can I ask a bit more about the canals? I don't know if I said that right. Are they in use or are they dried up?
Those qanats, right now some of them are in use, the ones that are going to be used for our water reservoir, but the ones in the lower part, unfortunately, they are kind of dried.
Okay. So it's sort of it's a theme of sort of services and how you're dealing with light and water and so on. It's a sort of prototype project in many ways, I guess.
Yeah.
But a couple of things. Fireflies. I'm fascinated by the ideas of fireflies providing light, and also your pool of water, which obviously is lovely. But in the extremes environment, is there not an issue? It's either frozen or evaporating. I was curious about how those two elements, as evocative and beautiful as they are, would actually work.
Yeah. As I mentioned, this is very dry area. I think it's one of the greatest deserts in the entire world. So these waters will not be frozen since they are actually in kind of motion. And what was the other questions you had?
How you get fireflies to trapped or however to provide light in the evening.
So as I mentioned, these fireflies are local for the area. They are desert fireflies living in this area. But due to the dryness and the human settlements that have been made in here, and there weren't some part for them to be able to nestle there. So we are providing, based on their nature, to make sure we can provide a nestle for them in these domes that we are actually using some special material to make sure these local fireflies will immigrate there.
And forgive my ignorance, but do they really create enough light to...
No, the general light in the nighttime will be provided by very small sources of artificial light, and we are planning, the brief was that they didn't want any source of artificial light. So we are, the brief was that those teachers, those couple wanted to have a poetic lit place, so we are suggesting fire and candlelight as well.
I have a question about the environment. Apparently it gets pretty cold during the winter time, right?
Yeah.
And is it the same strategy, that keeps it from the heat, that also preserves it from the cold in the winter?
Yeah, these shapes, as I mentioned, we were inspired by ancient architecture of Iran, especially the domes, also known as Abambar, or I think, Yakhchal, maybe. These domes make, when it's very cold outside, the warm weather will keep the water from freezing. And on the other hand, in the warm weather, the water will keep cold because it's letting air flow in them, and also they will avoid sunlight inside.
Okay.
I really appreciate the extraordinary context that you've given to this so we understand it. But the question I have is a lot of the existing images, the UNESCO World Heritage Site, the villages, etc., are essentially built on grade or above grade with these beautiful spaces. You're proposing to build below grade.
Yes.
Do you see that as a paradigm for future construction, or is this kind of a one-off?
As I mentioned, I think future must follow what have been in ancient times. So our ancestors used to do this in different types of different areas of Earth, and they used to make settlements beneath the ground. And we are using that proposal, that ancient solution, to, we are trying to propose this way to show that there is no place in Earth that should be abandoned, ever. Since there is a large villages nearby, and they are actually leaving these areas to live in cities, we are telling them that you can stay here. You just have to change your, point of view and perspective.
So could you imagine taking this idea and expanding it to a multifamily
Yes.
development and building
Yes,
below
yes,
grade in
exactly.
this way?
That's actually that's just one project, and we are presenting this to see maybe we can do this for the entire village that is left behind and kind of being abandoned.
Thank you.
So am I done?